Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. My name is Vlada and I read tarot, and today I'm doing another reading in my Major Arcana series where I read on each of the Major Arcana cards to derive messages that the Major Arcana card wants to say. I'm doing the Hermit card today, so this is going to be the reading on the Hermit card. If you want to watch the cards that came before this, I've done all of the cards prior to the Hermit card already. You can check out the playlist that I have called Tarot by Tarot, where I have done a video on each of the Major Arcana cards so far. So today we're doing the Hermit card. Let's get into it. Let's see what the Hermit card wants to say to us. Again, you may want to watch the other ones first because the other ones will give you context for some of the things that I might mention in this video, because the cards seem to be informing one another. So I would advise that you do check out the other ones. And also, I have found this series to be extremely interesting, something that I've been fascinated by. I feel like I'm learning something new about tarot as I'm doing these. So yeah, if you would like to go and watch that, please do. But let me get into this reading. So the Hermit card. The Hermit card. What does the Hermit card want to say to us as a collective on how to read it, how to understand it better? Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not going to take all of these cards. I saw the King of Swords first. You know what? I'm going to take the Empress as well because the Empress kind of is standing out to me as well. There's a card under the King of Swords. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to put these two cards here. So let's get into the Hermit card. Okay. The Hermit card is strongly connected to the mind, but also with the Empress energy. I kind of want to put them this way, actually. I don't know why. The Hermit is connected to the mind, and being comfortable in your own mind is what I'm picking up on with the Empress being here. So the Hermit wants us to know the energy is about going within into your own mind and your own consciousness and being comfortable in exploring the depths and the complexities of your mind without erratic energy is what I'm picking up on. Because the Empress energy to me within this reading right now is representing comfort, and the King of Swords is representing mental state, being in a state of mental comfort. Because the King of Swords is very balanced when it comes to his mentality, his thoughts, his intellect. So the Hermit card to me here is representing a state of comfort in your exploration of your mind, going within. So what I'm picking up, it's like the Hermit talks about spirituality, but spirituality from a more of a mental space rather than maybe emotional or instinctual or like physical. Because that's the thing, spirituality embodies all of those things. It embodies all of the suits of tarot, the cups, the swords, the pentacles, and the wands. So the Hermit, to me, from this spread, is saying it's more about the mental state, being able to go within, able to analyze yourself, go within enough, and go deep into yourself, while maintaining a comfort within your mental state. Being able to quiet your thoughts, being able to discern between thoughts. It's kind of the imagery that I'm getting, I'm actually getting a visual here. What I'm picking up on with the Hermit is it's kind of like going into the depth of your own energy and like your mind being all these different things. Maybe your mind has a field, and then there's also a valley, and then there's also a beach in your mind, but then there's also a prison in your mind. And being able to walk into that prison very calmly, without any fear, in a very relaxed manner, and unlock the prison gates and let out the thoughts or let out the energies that have been imprisoned in that prison. Let them out to go to the beach, to go to the valley, to go to wherever, to the forest within the mind. For some reason, the word rescuer is coming through. So the hermit wants us to remember that it's this ability to, the hermit represents your own ability to rescue yourself. But rescue yourself from your mental space. Like, almost rescue yourself from yourself. It's funny because if we were talking in the strength card, we were talking about this ability to tame yourself. And if you are able to tame yourself, that means that you are surrendering to your shadow. The ego is surrendering to the shadow, and the shadow is therefore surrendering to the ego. And they work in tandem with each other. With the Hermit card, there's an energy of I am capable of rescuing myself. Sorry, I just need a sip of water. And so if the strength card was about the shadow and the ego, the hermit is about your mind. It's the ability to rescue yourself from your mind, but also your mind is able to rescue you. So seeing your mind as something that rescues you, but also something that you need to have enough strength and wisdom and knowledge to rescue yourself from time to time. The mind being something that is both a tool. The sword. Sorry, I shouted that. The sword is both a tool that can hurt you, but it can also defend you and protect you. Just like the mind is. Wow. I think I just realized something about the wand energy as well. I'm just going to mention the wand energy really quickly because I'm worried I'll forget and I'll never mention it again. But the wand, it's either just a stick. Oh my goodness, I need to do a separate video on the suits. Okay, the wand is either just a stick and it has no meaning, but allow yourself to charge that wand with energy and it becomes a magic wand. It becomes a tool of power. A sword is either something that can harm you, hurt you, cut you, just like the mind can, or it can be used to defend yourself as a source of power, as a source of protection and forward movement. Interesting. So like with the pentacles, I guess I'm getting the energy of a pentacle is either something that is just an object, or it is a sword. Again, if you give it enough power and you're able to utilize it well, it's a resource. It's something that secures you, protects you. And then with the cups, the cup can be empty or the cup can be full. Oh, optimism. I wonder if optimism versus pessimism works. I need to do a separate video on the suits. I'm going to do a separate video on the suits. I'm doing it. Thank you, the Hermit. Thank you for giving me this knowledge. Oh my God. I mean, maybe it's obvious. Sometimes I'm saying things and I'm like, was this obvious? Is this allowed? Okay, let's go. let's continue. Okay, so yeah, it's is the mind rescuing you, or is it harming you? Or is it time to rescue yourself from your mind? The Hermit card, I feel like the Hermit card wants us to remember that it will often come out when it's time to rescue yourself from your mind. I'm picking up on that very strongly. I feel like the Hermit card likes to come out to let us know that we are being harmed by our thoughts or our mind rather than, or not necessarily that you're being harmed by your thoughts or your mind. The Hermit asks us to consider that. Have to sit down and say, are my thoughts, are they advancing me or are they harming me? Swords energy is quick. Swords and wand energy is the quicker of the two energy, or of the four energies, right? Swords energy is quick. The Hermit shows up to help us, kind of like the High Priestess, but the High Priestess was in a different way. Do you remember when I said in the High Priestess video that she shows up sometimes when we need to slow down in the reading? Like, and it was to do with biases. It was to do with, like, are you using your inner wisdom and intuition, or are you using your biases in order to do this reading, or like whatever. The Hermit would come out more so, are your thoughts overtaking in this reading, or are you using your intuition? The Hermit kind of has a very similar function to the High Priestess from what I'm seeing here. But it's a slightly different energy to it. It's like, if you're doing a reading and the Hermit card comes out, it's not going to be every time, but in some instances, the Hermit card will come out to let you know your thoughts are overtaking you within this reading. You're not listening to your intuition enough. You need to quiet down your thoughts. In other instances, he would be referring to you needing to quiet your thoughts within the situation that you're asking about. And go within and rescue yourself from your mental state and your thoughts and give yourself mental comfort. The Hermit asks for quiet and for solitude. Let's look in the book. You know what? I actually don't think I highlighted anything for the Hermit, or did I? I don't remember sitting down to highlight anything for the Hermit. Here's the Hermit. Yeah, no, I didn't. I should have highlighted some stuff before I started this, but let me look at the Rider-Waite one first. Maybe I wasn't supposed to, so maybe there's a reason that I didn't. I'll read out some passages. So, the Waite-Smith Hermit is based on the Marseille image, except that his rope is dark and his hood is up, which strengthens the mood of isolation and contemplation. Isolate and contemplate in order to quiet your mind, to quiet your thoughts, so that other people's thoughts and opinions are not interfering with you. Also, he is on a mountaintop. He has mastered the virtue of the last trump and climbed to the top of the distant summit. The image is also influenced by a picture in the Hermetic Museum. On the title page, there is a print of an alchemist in a long robe with a stick and a lantern following the Anima Mundi, symbolized as a beautiful woman. She's holding a glowing 6-point star, a symbol of the masculine upward pointing triangle and the feminine downward pointing triangle, joined as one power. Here the star is in the Hermit lantern. The Hermit represents seclusion for the purpose of meditation and attainment, but he can also simply mean that the state of being alone or of going outside of the group. He's a pioneer who lights the way for others. Loneliness equals pioneering. If you feel lonely, you have the bitch. Sorry. Okay. If you're please, why are you so good to me? Why are you so good to me, Tarot? If you're lonely, you can, I'm skipping steps and I'm skipping thoughts, but I'm sure I'll come back. If you're lonely, you can choose to see yourself as lonely, or you can choose to see yourself as a pioneer, because you're both at once. This gives a whole new meaning to the video that I did on me putting out message into the universe. I don't know if you've watched that. I am doing kind of like a series on me putting messages out into the universe. If you want to check them out, I would love to see your thoughts or what you think of it. Loneliness equals pioneering. If you're lonely, maybe the universe is calling you to pioneer something. If you're feeling lonely, and you know what's so funny? I've talked to so many people recently. So many of us are feeling lonely. We're all pioneers. There's so much pioneering energy in the air right now in the collective, and we don't even realize it. Big change is coming then. Like, obviously, like also with the astrology that we have, but like, we're all in a very pioneering energy, and we probably all have very specific things to be pioneers on, because again, things have become so niche and life has become so complex. This is giving me very exciting energy. To be lonely, again, I'm not romanticizing loneliness, and like, I'm not saying, I want to look at it from a very different lens. If you are feeling sense of loneliness, if you go within and embrace that loneliness, embrace that energy, you will find your pioneering spirit. Because once you're on that mountaintop, other people will see you on that mountaintop and go, that person climbed all the way to that mountain, and that makes me want to climb on that mountain and be beside them. I want to check out what's there as well. And all of a sudden, you're not so lonely anymore. The antidote or the medicine for loneliness is your pioneering energy, because when you tap into your loneliness, you tap into your inner pioneer. But in order to tap into your inner pioneer, you need to quiet down, you need to seek mental comfort, and you need to rescue yourself from your thoughts, from your mind. I feel like I'm talking so loud, but sometimes I just feel like I become so passionate with the messages that are coming through. I can't really control it, so I'm sorry if it's a bit too loud when I speak. I have a very loud voice anyway. There's a loudness in the quiet as well as what I'm picking up. Because when it's quiet, when you quiet your mind, sorry, I'm so excited. When you quieten your mind, okay? If you were somewhere like in a forest where there were loads of people, like, I don't know, camping, and it was really noisy and people were constantly there, there's a lot of noise pollution, right? If something were to happen in that forest, I don't know, like something happened and maybe some big noise went off, there would be a lot of people to hear that noise, but the impact of that noise would not be like, because everyone would kind of look to each other and be like, did you hear that noise? I wonder what that noise was. But maybe because a lot of people heard that noise, maybe not a lot of people would actually give it as much value, or that noise would not have as much of an impact on those people because it's been dispersed through all of those people camping in the forest. But if the forest is dead quiet, and it is eerie how quiet it is, and you are camping in the forest by yourself, and you hear a loud noise, that loud noise is gonna have insane impact on you. It's the same with our mind and our thoughts. If we're able to quiet our thoughts and let them disperse and allow our mind to be quiet, and then mindfully, intentionally invite energy in, channel, some might say, the channeling that you will receive will have an insane impact on you as a person. Whereas if we are sitting and, because I believe we're always channeling. Every single person on earth is always channeling. It's just that some people know how to discern what's channeling and what is their own thoughts and what is their own biases, etc. And some people don't. But it's not to say one is bad and the other isn't. It's just, that's just how it works, right? So the Hermit card to me is about channeling something, but how do you channel something into your energy? You can channel it. You can be open to information, like how people talk, like your crown chakra can be super active. But if your mind is not at rest or at a place of comfort, that channeling will mean jack shit. It won't mean anything. That channeling will come in, out, in one ear, out the other, into the crown chakra, out of the root chakra. I don't know, like whatever way you want to put it. It's not going to stay. It's not going to linger. It's all about, again, with the noise. If you are in a forest and loads of people are camping and they hear the loud noise, everyone hears the loud noise, and people go, oh, did you hear that? That was a weird noise. Oh, we heard it as well. Oh, I wonder what that is. Maybe it's nothing. The lingering of the noise, for something to be loud, it needs to linger. The Hermit is about quiet versus loud. And sometimes when the surrounding is loud, no matter how much the noise tries to impact the space that is already loud, it's hard for it to linger. The way that something lingers is when there's enough quiet for it to linger properly. Wow. Oh my God. I want to cry sometimes when I do these, because I feel like my brain is like working out when I'm doing these. I feel like my brain is on steroids when I'm doing these. I also feel like I don't know, I would really recommend doing stuff like this, because I feel like it's like a natural high that I experience, because when I do these readings, like when I walk away, I'm like, life is amazing. And I feel so like high on tarot. But the Hermit is about the mind, but it's the loud mind versus quiet mind. Because when your mind is loud, consistently cluttered, loud, the Hermit is connected to Virgo. Virgo likes to declutter. But Virgo energy can also be the messiest energy out there. That's the duality. That's the two versions of Virgo. Virgos can be some of the most chaotic, messy, disorganized people ever, but they crave organization. And it's if they're afraid of that same organization that they become disorganized. But they can also be some of the most organized, discerning people out there. The Hermit represents the quiet that you need in order to discern. The silence that you need and solitude that you need. In order to discern effectively, you need to be able to be quiet and to be in solitude. With your decision making, with whatever, and it doesn't even have to be to do with the decision. In order to move forward, in order to be able to move through life in general, you need to not be afraid of your own solitude. Because if you're in solitude, like sometimes I've definitely had times in my life where I'm really working on not being afraid of being alone anymore, and it's been incredible. It's been so interesting, so fascinating. But there's been times in my life where I was desperately afraid of being alone because my mind was so cluttered. I was not at a comfortable mental state. Because if you're comfortable in solitude, you trust yourself to be quiet. You trust yourself to be silent. And you value that. That's what the Hermit card represents. I mean, we know that, but I feel like I think sometimes just having these readings, they help me tease that energy out more and more. I do want to look at the book The Hermit card. As we have said, the second act in the trumps is concerned with the soul of will and embraces asceticism instead of sensuality. So, beginning with the Strength card, right? With the Chariot card, we talk about ascension. The energy is more interesting. We've got the Empress. She is embodiment of sensuality. It's that ascension beyond sensuality. It's ascension to the mind. But if we move too far away from our sensuality and we forget that our sensuality is still a part of us into the mind, that's where it becomes cluttered. It's kind of like you always need to come back to that sensuality is what I'm picking up on. And the Hermit is the keeper. It's almost the in-between energy. It's the energy, the mind is important and moving into the mind is important. But sometimes maybe you need to be in solitude and sit with yourself and say to yourself, do I need to maybe ground myself back into the sensuality of it all? The oldest images of the Hermit, however, found in the hand-painted Milanese decks, depict a hunched old man holding an hourglass. These early representations are a symbol of time, similar to the illustration for the triumph of time in Triomphe. Just as the figure of justice was based on images of the classical goddess Dike, the figure of time is derived from the image of the classical god Saturn. So the Hermit is strongly connected to Saturn in the original decks. Saturn is the god of time. We know that Saturn is strongly connected to time. And was also depicted as a hunched old man. This personification of time was commonly associated in Renaissance art with images of fate and death. And we find these same subjects depicted on other cards in this section of the trumps. The Hermit card, we associate it with Virgo, Mercury, but Saturn plays a big part into the Hermit. And I suppose the Saturn energy is all about restricting, peeling things away. If you want to be effectively in solitude, to be effectively in your own space, you need to peel away, you need to restrict yourself. Again, it's like when you're alone, you're restricting yourself from other external things and energies. I can't stop thinking about the hourglass. And I keep thinking like the hourglass representation for time is so much more, because I think about the infinity symbol, and the hourglass really represents that infinity symbol. And the hourglass, the same sand keeps going between the two. It's as above, so below. The hourglass is such a as above, so below energy. And it's like if you were measuring time with an hourglass, if you put the hourglass and the sand seeps through and the sand goes down, you say, whatever I did in that space of time has seeped into the next moment in time that I'm going. So one moment in time informs the other. One moment in time informs the other. It's like the hourglass is actually, maybe this makes me want to get an hourglass. This makes me want to get an hourglass because it's like there's almost something very mystical about, well, I spent an hour doing this. This is informing the next hour, and this is informing the next hour. And the Hermit card is really kind of about that then. So if you spend an hour in solitude, true solitude, allowing yourself to rescue yourself from your mind, that is going to inform what you're going to go and do in the next hour. And the Hermit card is about informing yourself through solitude and loneliness. And I am almost seeing this is the hourglass. Mental state sensuality. Mental state sensuality. It kind of feels like the Hermit is the energy of, it's like the energy of space between sensuality and, like, it's almost like he's here. You know? He's in between. It's the moment that you're turning, he's the moment that you're turning the hourglass and the sand hasn't stopped, the sand hasn't left, but the things are changing already. It's the moment of the turn. At least that's the way that I'm interpreting him. In between the loudness, in between things that it's kind of like in between, how do I say it? It's like in between action, there's inaction. In between loud noises, there's quiet. It's like a clap. Before the clap, there was quiet. Before I speak, there's quiet. So it's funny because we were talking about the shadow and the ego with the strength card. Before there was an ego, there was a shadow. With the Hermit, it's like before there was loudness or there was noise. Thoughts are noise, right? Words are noise. Before there was noise, there was quiet. That's the way that I'm seeing the Hermit. The Hermit wants us to remember that before you could make noise, you were quiet. It also reminds me of like before, like when you were in the womb, for example, as a embryo or as a developing fetus, there was quiet. There was dark and there was quiet. And then there was light and then there was noise. And so you need to always go back to that quiet in order to you can't keep cramming noise on top of noise. It will just become overwhelming. You need to make space for the noise, the other noise that's going to come in, other sound that's going to come in. You need to create the quiet, create the space for new things to come in. That's what the Hermit is about. And in a way, what I'm going back to loneliness and how we were talking about loneliness with the Hermit, loneliness is a representation of quiet before the noise comes in. Sometimes I feel like the Hermit wants us to know that sometimes we feel lonely because we are subconsciously wanting to clear out and discern energies that no longer are for us, maybe no longer serve us, no longer give us nourishment, in order to create space. And yes, that space might feel lonely for a while, but something will eventually land into that space and start creating a new sense of comfort. That's what the Hermit card talks about. And because you are creating that lonely, empty, quiet space, you are the pioneer of that space. This reminds me of that book, Little Prince. Like he's creating things alone. I don't remember the exact story, but because I remember I read it when I was very little. But for some reason that came in. Little Prince story came in. I'm also hearing lonely people are powerful people. If you're lonely, there's a power to it. It's just you need to choose to utilize that power as a pioneering energy. But again, that you choose what you fill that loneliness with, that quiet, empty space with, because you could fill it with, difficult thoughts that don't serve you, And that will depend on the strength card, which is your relationship between the shadow and the ego. And if your relationship with the shadow and the ego is good, you'll be able to go through the hermit phase effectively. Oh my God, that's so incredible. That's so cool. And that's when, because we'll be going, sorry, I'm spitting on my cards. We're going to be going into the Wheel of Fortune next. The change, the wheel turns then. After loneliness, the wheel turns. I am definitely in my hermit stage. When I'm like doing this reading, I'm seeing myself in this hermit energy. Like I resonate with this so much. And I feel like it's so funny because I'm Astro Wheel of Fortune on YouTube, right? On Instagram. And I'm like, okay, so maybe there's my next phase, my next stage is the Wheel of Fortune. And I wonder how that's going to correlate because I've attached that energy of the Wheel of Fortune to my channel. I've attached it by name and it holds a certain energetic value to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram. I wonder to my business, my Etsy. So I wonder if once I go into my Wheel of Fortune phase, I can expect something quite significant for those things. Wow. But I don't know how long this hermit phase is going to last because I feel like I'm still in it. I think I'm kind of ready to emerge from it, but I'm kind of trusting the universe to inform me. But yeah, anyway, I'll stop talking about myself, but it's just that's something that's very fascinating to me. I would encourage you, if you're watching these readings, assess like which reading is like really resonating with you. You know? Which reading is resonating with you? And you're like, you know what? I'm in this stage of my life. I'm in this stage. And not one is better than the other because they're always a cycle. So I would almost see it as like, once you get to the world card, you probably getting to the point where you're going back to the Fool again. Because I would see the major arcana as like the themes in life. And then the minor arcana, for example, they're like clarifiers, right? Or, well, these are more people. But like, these are more, these minor arcana fit into the major arcana. They don't come after the major arcana. They fit into the major arcana. That's how I see it. And then the court cards is more like representation of people and humans. And you know what I'm picking up on as well? You know the way I'm getting libraries and when people go, shh. Why are libraries so quiet? Because to truly absorb knowledge and to broaden your mind and to expand your mind, like from your own individual point of view, to do it by yourself, you need plenty of quiet. Plenty of quiet is needed. So it's like treat your mind like a library is what I'm getting with the Hermit. When you go into your mind, it's like you're stepping into a library because your mind is a library. It's full of books and knowledge on like books that you've read, information that you've collected. Your mind is literally a library. Treated like that, treated with that respect of quiet. Even if I want to be loud, even if I instinctually feel like I need to be loud, how do I respect that quiet energy within this library, my mind? That's what the Hermit is about. How that comfort of being alone in a library and exploring the knowledge that you hold within yourself. And that's how you channel. That's how I channel, like when I'm doing any channeling for myself, that's what I will do. I will meditate for a little while and then I will sit down. I usually journal because for me, or I will speak it out loud. I talk to myself a lot. And usually I whisper. Like I channel in a whisper for myself a lot of the time. But it's like I do need to quiet my mind first. And I used to try to channel or I used to try to do these things without like meditating and just like trying to get the answers for myself without meditating, but like it does help. And I usually don't even need to meditate for that long, but oh my God, what if I did though? What kind of power would that open up for me? Maybe that's what I need to do now, like meditate for an hour and get those kind of answers. Go into my mental library. Yeah. I think that's all I have for the Hermit card, and I'm actually not really wanting to pull any more cards. I feel like we got a lot of really good information. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm so inspired by these readings. They just make me so invigorated. I'm very, very, very grateful. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that here. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked it, if you feel like there was value in it and you would like to give your own opinion or just engage with the video, I would really love for more people to see these videos. I understand that they're not as popular as the pick a cards right now. I understand that, but I think a lot of people could benefit from these way more than they benefit from the pick a cards. Honestly, honestly, honestly. So if you can, please engage with a comment or a share. I would really, really appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be doing more stuff like this. I'm really excited. I'm going to do that suits video. I think I might even do it now, you know, who knows. But yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. If you'd like to tip me, you can tip me with a super thanks button at the bottom of the video. And you can also tip me on PayPal. The link is down below. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me, whoever you are, whoever the, you know what, usually I get like 60 views on these, whoever the 60 people who watch these videos, I so appreciate that you watch it. Thank you. I hope you have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.